Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our weekend Q&A. And what I'm going to do tonight is I didn't get any questions, but I do have something planned. So if you don't really have questions, that's fine. I do. I've actually got something prepared just in case. And so I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be kind of fun. Um, we're gonna talk about Zapier. And I'm going to finish the end of the DFY Live Masterclass. I'm going to talk about uh, um, uh, the Go High Level sub accounts, and I'm also going to talk about also going to talk about a system for those of you who are system users. Right, so we'll talk about both of those. And thanks, Gail. And let's see. So the chat, I think it should be. See, I think I turned it on. Let me make sure. Okay, yep, chat is now turned on. All right. And I think that the Q&A is turned on. Okay, um let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to turn off my camera for the for this and we're going to get into some aspects of Zapier tonight. And so let me turn my camera off. And let's go ahead and get started. I do want to talk about how to use this DFY and in general, how to use the DFY Live Masterclass. Um, First of all, I do want to say this. Now, this is for those of you who are not Ultimate Insiders. If you missed the opportunity to get the DFY Live Masterclass for Zapier, I'm going to put a second chance opportunity to get it. Again, this is just for you if you're not an Ultimate Insider. This is going to be take it back to the launch price on Warrior Plus. So if you missed it, and you might like to see it once we get done here tonight. And you can pick that up at the plrshow.com/second chance DFY. So now let's talk about how to use this DFY. Um, you should be using this information with your Go High Level sub account. Um, and I'm going to be explaining that in a PLR course called Physical to Digital Masterclass, where I go through how to use the sub accounts. And I realize that that's not necessarily going to be the place where you're going to be selling it. I'm primarily kind of forcing myself to do this for Ultimate Insiders that have it, and hopefully I'll be able to make a little bit, at the same time. So now also the PLR video course um, on using sub accounts and so there's that also. Um, you will be able to understand some integrations, and you'll be able to sell yours to your customers that have System.io. And if you need to get System.io, you can get it there. Get an affiliate link and use it everywhere, and teach your IM customers. Uh, I'm going to kind of skip this part. I don't really want to do that for tonight. Um, so let's talk about this. Um, Automating profitable activities with Zapier. Let's talk about automating profitable activities with Zapier. Let's talk about what Zapier does. Zapier integrates cloud-based platforms that don't have direct tie-ins. And then it really takes the information, typically based on the email address, and moves it from one platform to another. So you've got these two platforms, they're technical, they don't talk to each other. And for whatever reason, the creators, they made them, but you need them to talk together. And I'm going to give you an example of that here in this session. Now, if you're doing marketing and business online, you're probably most concerned about your leads and your sales. And in some cases, you may be using a platform where Zapier will bring together an opportunity for you to be able to put your autoresponder onto a platform that you are using but doesn't have a direct tie-in. And so that basically allows you to generate leads from just about any system. And that's the most helpful thing that I find Zapier to do for online marketers. It means that you can provide service to people, in areas that you might not ordinarily do. Like, for example, If you were to use one of the online community platforms like Circle, it doesn't necessarily tie with your autoresponder. But what you can do is you can tie directly to your autoresponder when someone signs up. And those are the kinds of things you can do with Zapier. Any two cloud-based services that tie together through Zapier, they may not tie together otherwise. And so you can do some automation, right? So that basically means that there's not a platform that you're using that you cannot add somebody to your autoresponder automatically, whether it's WordPress, whether it's Warrior Plus, whether it's JVZoo, whether it's ClickBank. You don't really need a direct app. You don't need a direct tie-in if you understand how to use Zapier. It also makes the webhook process easier, and you're going to see that. And it's going to be manageable for people who don't know how to code. Now, if you already are using webhooks, that part's might not going to be a mystery to you, but if you don't use them at all, or maybe you've been intimidated by them, then you can use Zapier to actually do them. And so anything that doesn't integrate even within Zapier, you can use a webhook in order to get it connected. And so there are lots of connections and integrations that are not visible in the platform, but you can do them with a webhook inside of Zapier. And so you can be an entrepreneur with average technical ability. You can structure an automated process with a simple Google search of any platform's webhooks. Let's talk about some of the Zapier improvements. Okay, so Zapier has now made it so that any trigger and action that's not going to happen, you'll be able to find it. So it used to be that when you use Zapier, if you went through the process, you could get all the way to the end, and then you find out these two things don't really tie together, and Zapier really didn't communicate that to you until the end. And so that means then by working through the company's interface before opening an account, you can determine if a connection is available for the apps you want to connect, right? So basically, let's just say that you are, you're working through the interface, and then you get all the way to the point where Zapier has brought these two things together. You can actually use a webhook inside of Zapier to get those two ideas to talk. And I'll show you that here in this session. And this has not always been the case with Zapier, right? And so basically, they've now got a phrase called no action available or no trigger available. And it communicates to you that, hey, you know what? Before you go open an account with Zapier, I can tell you that these two things don't work together. So basically, you're not going to have to buy the service. You're not going to have to get involved with it. If it doesn't work, you'll be able to tell up front. And I'll show you how to do that here in this session. So let's get into some specific Zapier improvements. And this is where I'm talking about. So for example, let's say that you had Teachable, and what you wanted to do was you wanted to make sure that if somebody bought something from your Teachable course, you wanted to automatically give them a ticket to a summit in Hey Summit. But if you got Zapier, you would look at these two things together and they would tell you now right up front, well, hey, there's no action available. We can't put these two services together. And again, it used to be that you'd have to work all the way through the end before you found this out. So you wouldn't have to get Zapier. You wouldn't have to buy it. You wouldn't have to buy a month. You wouldn't have to get the trial. All you'd have to do is to walk through this process. Zapier will tell you upfront if the two applications you want to work with actually work together before you get involved with the system. So you do want to go through the process. Any two applications, and let's say there's no integration, but what you want to do is you want to put those two things together. You get inside of Zapier, you go through their process, this very brief, very simple process, and then you ask it, well, hey, do these things work together? And Zapier will tell you yes or no. Now, there are some more complex things that you can do now that Zapier has an AI interface. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to make even that process easier that I just showed you. I just showed you what was called the classic view. If you see there, you'll see at the very top of there, it says switch to the AI view. This is the way Zapier works and has always worked traditionally. It's called the classic view. But there is now what's called an AI view. And the AI view is actually in beta. And so now we can go to the AI and we can ask it, do these services work together inside of Zapier? And so it's an improvement that they've made in the process. So again, you don't have to go all the way through to the end to find out that the two services that you want to work with don't actually work together. So let's talk about some of those complex integrations that are now made easier with the AI interface. And this is what the AI interface looks like inside of Zapier. So let's say that what you want to work together, let's say you want to use ClickBank, and you also want to work with your autoresponder and it's in MailChimp. And you want to know, well, hey, can I put those two things together? Can I do it so that every time I make a sale in ClickBank, I want to automatically add someone to my autoresponder in MailChimp? Can I do that? Well, what you do now is you would go to the AI interface in Zapier. And again, as you're looking at this, this is in beta and they're making some improvements to it, but it basically works. You would go to this interface and you would type in a plain language query. You would type in the words, I want to, every time a sale is made in ClickBank, I want to add that person to my MailChimp audience. And Zapier would either tell you, yes, it can do this, or no, it cannot do this, as opposed to, again, going through the process and actually using Zapier traditionally the way it used to be used. For example, you're going to see here that we can take something that has been purchased in ThriveCart. So in other words, let's say that you have ThriveCart as your shopping cart. And what you want to do is you want to put that person inside of a course that you have inside of what's called Lead Connector. And for those of you who maybe you're in the know, Lead Connector is another way of saying that this person has a Go High Level sub account. So basically, you're saying, I want to have the person buy something in ThriveCart, but I want to have that person then added automatically to my course in my Go High Level sub account. And once again, Lead Connector is the way that you would use your Go High Level sub account inside of Zapier. Okay, so that's basically where we are right now. And the AI interface will tell you. So you would basically go to the AI interface and you would type in, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to have a person make a purchase in ThriveCart. I want to then have that person added to my Go High Level sub account through that interface. And what Zapier will tell you is, yes, you can do it. So again, this is what's been changed inside of Zapier, and it's actually made it a little better. Now, it doesn't make it any more less expensive, but it does actually work better than it actually used to. So the AI interface has really made Zapier a little more doable, as opposed to really having to have this really technical knowledge before you get started using it, even if you're going to use webhooks. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, there's a question here as to what a webhook is. And a webhook is basically a way of taking information out of one cloud-based service and putting it inside of another cloud-based service. And if there is no direct integration, a webhook will basically catch the information, it will lift it up, it will then move it over to that other cloud-based service. For example, let's say that you were using ThriveCart as your shopping cart, but there was no direct integration with ThriveCart and MailChimp. Now, I know that there is, but let's just say that there was not. You would use a webhook from MailChimp. The webhook would go and get the information from ThriveCart. It would lift it up out of ThriveCart. It would move it over to MailChimp so that every time a purchase was made in ThriveCart, you would be assured that the email address would be added, that the person's name would be added, and so you'd have all that purchase information in your autoresponder, right? So that's basically what a webhook does. And so hopefully that will kind of help you. If that doesn't, please feel free to ask another question when we get to the end. Now, AI interface. Let's talk a little deeper about the more complex integrations with Go High Level on your sub account or even with System.io. Now, I just want to show you this if you are a System.io user. There is an outbound force, right, with System, so that I can get information out of System and I can put it into another cloud-based service. right? So that's what you'll need to know. So system does tie to Zapier. I can get information out of there. So I can get purchase information out of there. I can get contact information out of there. And if there is not a direct integration with the platform I am using, I can move that information over to another application. So in other words, system has outbound capabilities. So I can get information out using Zapier. I can also move information in. And this is a case where I'm going to use a webhook. So in other words, I can use a webhook to get information from any cloud-based service. I can then lift it out of that cloud-based service. I can put it into system using Zapier. So I don't have to know any coding. All I'd have to do is know how to set up the webhook here inside of Zapier. Zapier makes it as simple as it can be to understand webhooks, and you really don't even have to understand webhooks. If you go and you were to Google webhooks and you were to even ask ChatGPT or ask one of the AIs, exactly how do I use a webhook, it will really get into some complexity that can be over the average technical person's head, right? And so you just and so rather than even try to get to that level of technical detail, if you're not a programmer, the easiest way to do that is going to be a service like Zapier. And as of right now, there really is not a cloud-based service that does webhooks with as many cloud-based services as does Zapier, as easy as Zapier does it. Now, when I say that, please understand this. I am not trying to sell you Zapier. I am not a fanboy of Zapier. I am a user of Zapier, but I do not have an affiliate arrangement with Zapier. I am telling you this from experience that if you are going to use webhooks, and if you are going to use it to tie together two cloud-based services, you want to use Zapier to do that because it does it as easy as any service does. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Go High Level because, as I said, if you have a Go High Level sub account with anyone, the way that you would connect to Zapier is going to be lead connector, right? So that is the technical aspect of connecting to Zapier. So if you're watching this and you've been wondering, well, hey, you know what? Can my Go High Level sub account connect to Zapier? The answer is yes, it can, but it's going to connect through lead connector. That is the way you would connect. Just like if you wanted to connect through your MailChimp account, you would use MailChimp inside of Zapier. If you're going to use your Go High Level sub, and it doesn't matter who you got it from, right? It doesn't matter who is the servicer. You will be able to use Zapier with the lead connector service with Zapier. That is how you actually connect. Okay, and the question is system a competitor with ClickFunnels? Yes. It is probably not as large as ClickFunnels, but it does a lot of the very same things. That's a good question. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to go through the Go High Level sub account process right now. So the system, and I will tell you this, right? And I'm gonna take a step back here. The system process is simpler, right? But there is a reason why you would use a Go High Level sub account. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Basically, what you would do is there are what are called automations inside of your Go High Level sub account. And again, it doesn't matter who you got it from. You will be able to use what's called an automation inside of Go High Level. What you would then do, and I want you to look at the right side here. These are the membership products that you have, and these are all of the available triggers that you have. And this is one of the reasons why you might consider using your Go High Level sub account over over something where you've got a little less complexity, but you can't do as much. So in other words, I can set off an automation if somebody goes to a specific category in my course. I can set off an automation if somebody completes a specific category. I can set off an automation if somebody starts a lesson. I can set up an automation if somebody completes a specific lesson. I can set up. So again, if you go down that row, what you'll see is that there is a level of complexity that you can add. Just think about this. Let's say that you have a customer and they are going through your course. It is set up on your Go High Level sub account. And they go through your course and they complete lesson 7. At that point, you then might want to send them an email because lesson 7 was about coaching, and you have some special resources that you can send them about your coaching program based on the fact that they have now completed lesson 7. So again, this really gives you a level of sophistication. It gives you a level of connection. It almost gives you mind reader technology. So in other words, your customer will think, well, how did that person even know I completed lesson 7? That is because you have an automation set to do this, and you do that inside of Go High Level. So again, if you're wondering, well, why do I want to have all this complexity when I could just do it with something like System that's really simple? Well, the reason is that you'd be able to want to do some of these things based on the level of complexity that it gives you. Now, the next portion, and again, I'm just walking you through this part of the process, and you're basically going to put together a trigger, right? You're going to have to put that trigger together, and all of this right now is happening inside of your Go High Level sub account. Here's where the webhook happens, right? And so what you're looking at, again, all of this is happening inside of your Go High Level sub account. Your webhook, or this screen here inside of Go High Level, is asking for a URL. The URL that it wants is a webhook. So you have got to get a webhook from some place so that it puts the information then inside of, gets the information from the other platform, right? So where do we go and get that information? Well, we are going to get that information from Zapier, right? So this is where we get the information from Zapier. We get it from the Zapier webhooks. And so basically what we're saying here is that we're going to connect this webhook. When something happens with the webhook, we're going to put this information inside of MailChimp. So how can we get the information out of Go High Level and put it into MailChimp? That's basically what we want to know. I'm going to take a step backwards here so we can see this. What we're basically saying here is that someone signed up for a membership, but we don't have a way right now inside of Go High Level to add that person to our MailChimp autoresponder. The only way that we can do that is we're going to use a webhook. This screen, this workflow requires a webhook. Where do we get the webhook? We're going to get the webhook from Zapier. Zapier is now going to be the webhook that will take the information from Go High Level and move it into MailChimp. Because what we want to do is we want to now put that person on our MailChimp list. Inside of Zapier, we're going to use what's called a catch hook, right? And so you can use a raw catch hook or a retrieve poll. In most cases, you are going to use a catch hook. And what's going to happen? We're going to say, whenever the webhook gets the information, please then update a subscriber in MailChimp. That is what happens. So you can do this with any two cloud-based services. We can use a webhook in Zapier to put information into any cloud-based service that we want, whether or not those two services have a direct integration or not. What does that mean? That means then that if you want to keep using your autoresponder, you use it. I have been I've used a specific autoresponder since about 2007. I don't want to change. I don't want to change for any, any service. And so just because I move over to a new platform doesn't mean I want to move all of the people that are in my autoresponder over to that new service. I want to continue to use the one that I am using because I have been using it since 2007. That could be the case for a lot of people. Typically, what happens is when somebody gets to be part of a new platform, what they will do is they will then get rid of their autoresponder. They'll get rid of all their services because all of those things, they matter to that person, right? But you don't have to do that once you understand how to use this particular service. Now, here's how it looks inside of Zapier. Zapier has this webhook. It has a webhook service, and we're going to set up the catch hook. The next point, here's the URL. So that's where the URL is. Now, remember that that screen inside of Go High Level was looking for a URL. Zapier is now going to give us the URL. So we're going to click the copy button on that URL. We're then now going to move back to Go High Level, and we're going to place that URL in here. So here's what we have done. We've now said that when there is a new membership sign up, the next thing we want to happen is we want the webhook to move this information over to another place using a webhook, right? And so once we do that, right, these two things are now going to be tied together inside of Go High Level. So again, let's say that you have something happening inside of your platform. You can move that information to any cloud-based service using the webhook. So you don't have to understand what a webhook is. You don't have to understand the technical aspects. All you have to do is understand how it interacts with the platform you want to use. That's all you need to know. So once you understand that, you can tie together two services that heretofore they will not have tied together at all. And so here's the question, right? And that would be the question of the day. Why go through all that trouble? Right? Why do we need to understand this? Why would we even bother this, right? I want to take you back through why you'd want to do this inside of Go High Level. And again, I kind of talked you through some of the complexity, but let's take a look, and let's just see. You'll notice here that there is one element, maybe about 5 up from the bottom. It says product started. So product started means that, hey, you know what? John is a person in my course. John just started the course. So what do I want to do? One of the things that Dan Kennedy talks about in his writings is you need to show up like no other, right? That's a marketing principle. So someone gets something, and I have to say this even as a marketer. And the last thing that I heard, he said most people think that they have sent an email, a welcome email, and they think that they're wonderful because they did that. And he said that's false thinking. You and I, the more that we can show up like no other, if we can do that, but we need data to do that. How do we get the data? Well, in this case, our customer, they start the product. And so we're going to use this integration. We're going to use this trigger so that we're going to set off an automation when the person starts the product. We're going to send them a message that maybe says, hey, congratulations. I know you've taken the first step, and I just want to congratulate you. I want to let you know that I'm here for you. If you have any questions, you can now take these next 2 steps with me. Reach out to me. Here's my support. Here's an extra bonus to help you. And again, all this does is it gives us more contact with the customer. And it's almost like you're this savant. You're this genius. Like, well, wow, man. This person, they sent me an email and all I did was start the product. How do they even know I started the product? That is why you would use something at this level of sophistication. Now, again, it is a hassle. I will tell you this. But if you have a Go High Level sub account, you can do these kinds of things. That is why you would use something like this, as opposed to using something a little more simplistic, where you would not have this level of contact with your customer, where you can set off and trigger something just based on what is happening. Now, again, this is a hassle to use, right? This is a hassle to use. Once you understand Zapier, though, you can then use it in the way that that will give you that maximum level of contact. So again, I want you to look at this. Now, all of these triggers are just for the membership, right? They're just for the membership. That's why you would use this. Now, once again, I'm not trying to convince you that you need to get a Go High Level sub account and you need to start using this. All I'm telling you is you don't want to run from this, right? Don't run from this because it's complex. I just explained to you how you tie this together with any service. You can now take what I've just shown you with any service inside your Go High Level sub account. You get inside the workflow, and now you can set off a trigger for any of these things, and then tie to some other aspect of your business. If you don't run from this, what you'll be doing is you will be setting yourself apart from the conversation, from your competition. Now, again, I realize that in online marketing, that we're not necessarily competing with each other, right? We're sort of friendly compatriots. I understand that. However, when people put you side by side with someone else and you set off a trigger just based on the fact that they started a product and they got this email from you with a personal video from you, what do you think that does when someone's got to choose which service is going to stay and which service is going to go? I just want you to understand what all of this means, and it means dollars and cents to you over time. Let's talk about why this matters. Now, once again, if you were to go and you were to get the Lead Connector application, there's only one automation, right? The Lead Connector will show you. So if you have a Go High Level sub account, you want to use Zapier, you can't trigger anything inside of your sub account. There's only one automation. And so if you understand, though, how to use a webhook, you will then be able to trigger whatever you want based on everything that's happening inside of the platform. So that is why it really, really matters. Okay, any questions? Now imagine I've got questions here, so I'm going to go through the questions. Any questions? Let's see here. And let's see. Right. Okay. Yeah. So Gail said the important thing to remember is that you need to communicate info about your customer from your shopping cart to your ESP to your LMS, right? Regardless of whatever platforms you use. Right. Yeah. So you've got to be communicating that information to all these platforms whenever you can. It's exactly right, Gail. Yep. So if your systems don't talk to each other, you are probably going to have to use something like Zapier. In some cases, right, you might have systems that talk to each other. In most cases, and here's what I found, I'm always trying to do something. I want a system to do something it doesn't. Right? I always find myself bumping up against those limits. And so when I bump up against those limits, that's when I go get Zapier. I don't use Zapier for everything, right? But I do find myself bumping up against limits. And when I do, I don't have to be limited, and I don't have to use another service or I don't have to switch from my services that I prefer to use in order to start working with something that says, hey, the only way you're going to be able to do this is to use our service. You're not going to be limited if you understand how to use Zapier and how to use webhooks together. All right, any other questions? Okay, so pause. Yeah, a webhook is like a mediator or a middleman. It is, right? So it's like a mail carrier. So in other words, it's a mail carrier it's like a messenger service. So in other words, I give the messenger something. Messenger then rides, their bike through New York City or Chicago, wherever they ride through, and they take it to the other business. Yeah. So it's like a messenger service that I give a package of information to. The messenger service then rides their bike through traffic, through all these other places. They get to the other business and they deliver that information to the other section. That's right. So basically, yes, it is like a mediator. It's in the middle of a process. That's right. Let's see. Uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll end the recording here. So, okay, so now, yeah, Jim, now I can say yes. I was talking about Aweber. I didn't want to put that on the recording, right? Because, I, I didn't think I should put it on the recording, so I didn't. Right, yeah, right, yeah, that's how I would see it, right? Yeah, Aweber is a word, right? Yeah, so I've been using Aweber since 2007. I don't want to say that on the recording, because that's gonna be for the DFY. So, all right, good question. What other questions you folks have? Any other questions about this process? Now, if you're an Ultimate Insider, you do have access to a Go High level sub account, and so you can use that level of sophistication if that's what you want to do. Right. So, and again, I'm going to be doing a course on that coming up this month. Yeah. So I will explain a lot of those things inside of the course. Okay. So if you're watching this and let's say that, I just finished the second part of the DFY, there's about 13 minutes that are not part of this, right? So you might have missed that part. So in other words, you don't have the entire DFY. You want to get the entire DFY, you can still get it. I think I've got it. I've got a coupon set for until Tuesday. Now, if you're an Ultimate Insider, you don't have to do this, right? So there's a you pay half of what people are going to pay even at the launch price. So this is basically going to be for people who are not Ultimate Insiders. Okay, so Jim, this is a DFY live live masterclass um for Zapier, right? DFY live masterclass for Zapier. That's what this is. So if you didn't get it, you can still get it if you're watching this. Again, it's not for Ultimate Insiders. Maybe I should do this. Let me do this first. I do have a bonus for Joan Altrez, right? So I remade a course on the topic of social media. I used AI to do it. So I'm going to give you how I did it, right? So you can use that course with unrestricted rights. So if you want to teach your customers how to remake a PLR course, and then I gave you the remade videos, right? I'm giving you the original course, and then there's an additional element that I'm not going to spell out here. That's a part of this that I will give you as part of the bonus. Now, again, this is a new part of the upgrade bonus. So if you already got, Jones product through our link and you want to get the upgrade, all this stuff is going to be in the upgrade. I just added it, and you can still get it. So now, having said that, I do want to step back here, and I want to go back through. See. So what is going on here? Let's see. All right. Okay. Let me see. I want to go back here to the beginning. I do want to talk about how to use the DFY, right? So the DFY Live Masterclass is basically you get unrestricted rights to it. And so in this particular case, I would use this particular one to as a user of the Go High Level sub account. You're going to learn some things in this course that will help you in your use of this, right? I would also use this to sell system. So in other words, I would not switch, and I'm not switching all of my stuff over to system.io. I'm not going to switch the Ultimate Insider program over to it. I'm not going to switch my own program over to it. But here's what I would suggest you do. I would suggest you do the same thing I would do, which is you need to be teaching people about this. You teach people how to use it, and you need to have them do it through your affiliate link because they're going to be doing it anyway. So again, I would not shy away from this if I were you as a marketer. So if you're a marketer and you're watching people join system.io and you're saying, oh, I don't want to do all that stuff. I don't want to switch my platform. You don't have to switch your platform. You shouldn't. I'm not switching mine, but I am going to make it available to people, and you should already have my videos. So you don't even have to do the education on it. Most of you already have my system.io videos. That's what you're going to use in order to educate people on it. Put your affiliate link under there and keep it moving, right? That's all you really got to do. Get people into your course, put your affiliate link under there with system.io, and in some cases, you're going to get a recurring commission. There's no reason for you not to do that as a marketer. So again, understand what I'm saying to you. You should not be switching all your stuff over to system.io unless you just want to. Um, but you should be selling and you should be educating. And again, I've given you the videos to educate, so use our videos to educate. Um, as a user, I would be using the Go High Level sub account because again, if you see the level of what you're able to do in here that I just showed you, right? In this course, in this DFY Live Masterclass, that's what you should be using and putting people into, right? So that is my opinion. Again, you know, as an Ultimate Insider, you get access to that, right? And so I would use it, right? I would definitely use it. And again, I'm going to do a course that will educate you on all the bases. I'm going to do that this month, and you'll be able to sell the course and the whole deal. But that's the way I would divide this up. I would be selling and teaching System.io because people want that platform. It's a decent platform. It's a simple platform. You can get in the recurring commission, but I would definitely be using my Go High Level sub account. So that is what I would do. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions? I don't want to keep you here on Sunday, but I don't know if I said it in my email. If you're I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so and we're so bad this year that I have no sympathy if you're missing football. Uh, so if you're missing your team right now, right, and I think it's only Buffalo and Cincinnati, I have no sympathy because we are really bad. We are really bad right now. Yeah, Paul, I think I sent you a note. You should sign up for your onboarding call, right? Please do that, right? So check your email. And okay, you did. Okay, great. Look forward to getting together with you then. Great. Oh, how was Laurel's birthday celebration? Good, good. Yeah, we actually went to went to Philly. I got a daughter who's teaching up there, and so we all went up there and just kind of hung out up there. So yeah, so it was good, Gail. Thank you for asking. So I don't have to come and live with anybody, right? Because I did take Mrs. Harper out her birthday. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. And also I think I also said and I get to do this because there's not a lot in addition to Jones thing going on. One of our ultimate insiders, Bill, Bill King, did a product launch. And so if you don't have it, right, check with Bill if you want to promote it. I know some of you all have Warrior Plus list. If you don't know how to get a hold of Bill and you want to promote it, I think he's got another day, right? If you don't know how to get a hold of him, let me know. I'll put you in touch, send me a support request. But you can actually get Bill's PLR from plrshow.com/Bill K, right? So yeah, so he did his first PLR product this weekend, right? You can get that there. And then Jones, then I'm adding on my bonus to that one. So you can get that also. All right, thank you, Jim. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me here. You could have done anything else other than hang out here with me, but you chose to be on here talking about internet marketing and webhooks. And what a way to end Sunday night. So have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.